So there's a really interesting, I guess you could call it a visualization or maybe a little bit of a journey to go on. And it only takes about 5 minutes, but imagine that you're a warrior and you're in your early 20s. Woohoo! And you're in a medieval castle and you're training your butt off with swords and spears and all the chaos. And you're sort of the popular kid. You're the, I don't know, the modern sense might be the quarterback on the football team or the head cheerleader or something. But it's not about football and cheerleading right now. It's about training to defend your castle or go and attack other castles because, go medieval, warfare or whatever. What would the experience be? And we don't really have time to have a conversation about that right now, but we might at the end. But I would ask you to maybe next time you go for a walk or next time you're doing some exercise, if you're a martial artist, the next time you're training, if you're doing some qigong, and you want to play with something that's maybe a little bit more about how you move dynamically, just pretend you're that young warrior and notice that your ego has got to be huge. Your sense of pride has to be huge. Your set of patriotism and alignment with the right people has to be huge because you're consciously or unconsciously training your body to go and kill people and probably die doing so. Right. So we're all kind of big fans of that. How many movies aren't about that? The unsung hero finally getting some training or having an accident or just having the guile and gumption to save the day, through a lot of exploding stuff and, people being, annihilated in some way. So here we are aware of ourselves as that young warrior, that young Gong, that immature masculine, that immature approach to practice, which is I'm big, I'm strong, I'm powerful, I'm right, go team me and whoever I'm, aligned with, and we're going to go and prove everybody else is wrong because we're better. Because you would have to kind of see the world that way to do that thing. So I'm not pushing that down like it's not relevant. I mean, I think we all have to go through that enough to just get through that part of being confident in a way. But bring our awareness back to that, place in that medieval castle where all the people are training and there's the young people bashing each other over the head, hopefully with padded, sticks or something. And then notice, if you will, there's some old person leaning up against one of the fences and they're kind of withered and they're missing half of an ear and they've got all kinds of scars and they're, surprisingly still alive, in the sense of medieval, history and stuff like that. And they're the old warrior and they've been to many battles. They're right now responsible for training the next generation of young warriors. And they know that the young warriors have to be right and righteous and powerful and prideful, to go out there and do this thing, that warriors have to do maybe for the first time and risk their lives and the people around them, all their friends' lives, because that's just what's on the menu. But as that old warrior, you may find yourself trying not to cry, sending off yet another 100, young people to perhaps futilely swing weapons at each other because the person who owns the castle is mad at the person who owns the castle across the, half of the country or whatever it might be. So when we think of our relationship with practice, our relationship with meditation, with developing skills and tools, there is a part of us that needs to feel right and strong and confident and build that momentum, and we have to have that moment. But the sooner we can drop into the older part of ourselves, the mature part of ourselves, the part that is actually seeking peace, not power, seeking solace and compassion and forgiveness for the things that we've had to do, and maybe for some of the things that have happened to us, are covered in scars and everything. Our relationship with what we're doing is different, profoundly. And if we're going to be meditating for the rest of our lives, because Nei Gong is a marriage, it's not it's not flirting. I mean, you can flirt with Nei Gong for a year and, see what it's like. But if you're really going to take it where it's meant to go, then at some point, hopefully sooner than later, you'll be sitting in your practice as the old warrior, realizing that you're practicing what it is to deconstruct and move beyond your ego, your identity, and the kind of social self that, maybe has those immature needs at first to be something special. And this is, in a way, a nice parable for external practice, in the sense of Gong or basic Qigong and Nei Gong, because all the stuff that people can see you do is the young warrior. All the stuff that no one could possibly understand from the outside is all the stuff that we experience on the inside, Nei, in the sense of the old warrior, our inner elder. So we look at the character and meanings of Nei. As I had mentioned, the first thing to be aware of is it implies what's below the obvious.